can Jiu Jitsu or martial arts transform your everyday life and make things better, make you a better, stronger person? That's this week's question of the week. I'm al-Aziz, the owner and head instructor of Semper Fortis Jiu Jitsu here in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm 55 years old after 33 years in the military, probably 30 or 40 years of training martial arts. And I want to tackle this week's question with the experience that I've gained. And somebody else made up a list one time, but I'm going to share the list with you, which is just 10 things that Jiu Jitsu has taught me about life. And how these 10 things really just sort of enhance my life and how I think they can enhance your life. One of the first things it taught me was some things are worth fighting for and some things are not worth fighting for. That might be in Jiu Jitsu, a particular grip or a submission you're trying to get. Sometimes maintaining that grip or that submission is worth fighting for and it will lead to victory, and sometimes it won't. Preserve your partners. None of us are lone wolves. None of us are getting better by ourselves. We need good training partners to get better. You never want to be the one that's injuring your training partners or running your training partners off. You got to preserve them, because as a team, we get better, we get stronger. And as iron sharpens iron, man sharpens man. So, preserve your partners. There is no such thing as fair. That would be number 3. There's no such thing as fair. Life is inherently unfair. Get over it. And in Jiu Jitsu, I'm dealing with unfairness all the time. Like, for instance, I'm 55 years old and I'm sparring with 20-year-olds. They're, in many cases, bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, better stamina. It's not fair. I got to get over it. Fight through it. Keep persevering. And that's a valuable lesson in life. Life is not always going to be fair. Sometimes, in Jiu Jitsu, you're rolling with somebody who's bigger and stronger. Sometimes a different gender, different body size, body type. All these other factors come in, but at the end of the day, you got to fight the fight. And that's how life is. Behavior leads to outcome would be lesson number 4. What I mean by that is, if I make bad decisions, I tend to get bad outcomes. When I make good decisions, I tend to have good outcomes. And that's what happens in Jiu Jitsu. If I execute a technique poorly, I will usually pay a price for that. Or if I telegraph a technique, or maybe I'm just not doing the technique that well, or I don't know the technique that well. Behavior leads to an outcome, good or bad. And I'm responsible for that. Next lesson is, if it's not working, try something different. So if every time I spar with a particular training partner, the things that I'm doing aren't working and it's leading to me being choked or joint locked, then try something different. Don't keep doing the same thing with the same results. Like, something has to change. Either I need to try a new technique or I need to be more proficient at the techniques that I am trying, or not telegraph them. So if it's not working, try something different. That's a very valuable lesson in life. Failure is always an option. I hear people all the time, I say, failure is not an option. Of course failure is an option. It's not the desired outcome. We all want to win, but sometimes we're going to lose. And we can learn a lot from that. And one thing about failure is, that means, we're going to start over, but we're not starting over from scratch. We're starting over from experience. I just tried a way that was a bad idea that did not work. So I have experience now. Let me try a different way. So it's all good. Ask for help. Asking for help in Jiu Jitsu as well as life, critical, because there's other ideas, there's other ways to grow. And I'm gonna link up a video where I talk about training with different training partners from different Jiu Jitsu lineages or martial arts to get different ideas to continue to grow and develop. And when you don't know it all, none of us know it all, you seek help so you can continue to grow. So always ask for help. Be better today than you were yesterday. That has always got to be the goal. So that's our next lesson. Be better today than you were yesterday. You can't focus on how I'm comparing to other people. My goal, and one of the things that Jiu-Jitsu taught me, was just be better today than I was yesterday and strive to be better tomorrow than I am today. And then next lesson was the best way to get better is to show up. And that's one of the hardest things in life, is just showing up sometimes, because just showing up can be intimidating. I think the hardest thing that in my jiu-jitsu journey was showing up for that first class. And then showing up when I didn't feel like showing up, when my body hurt, or when I was tired, or I was having a bad day, or the weather wasn't so good, or the roads were rough. Sometimes showing up it's half the battle, and that's what's going to lead to victory, is showing up. And that was the same thing, when I took my first college class. The hardest part was just signing up for that first class, just showing up. And then that led me from going from a 10th grade dropout with a GED to a person that now has a master's degree. Showing up, just show up. And then be in the moment was the last lesson. And being in the moment, the way I learned that from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is when I'm sparring in here with my training partners, or I could be in a competition competing, if I'm thinking about what happened today at the job, or my bills, or what the kids are doing in school, or the AC unit being down at the house, or the guy that cut me off in traffic. If I'm thinking about any of that and not on the person that I'm sparring with who's trying to choke me or joint lock me, if I'm thinking about that, for sure I'm getting choked or joint locked. So I have to be in the moment when I'm sparring with that person. And Jiu-Jitsu taught me that, is, be in the moment, focus on what's important right now. And right now, in Jiu-Jitsu, the most important thing is this person I'm sparring with or competing with. And so those are the 10 things I learned from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and how I think it enhanced my life, and how I think it could possibly enhance your life. And I'll just go over them again. Some things are worth fighting for. Preserve your training partners. There is no such thing as fair. Behavior leads to outcome. If it's not working, try something differently. Failure is always an option. Ask for help. Be better today than you were yesterday. The best way to get better is to show up and be in the moment. And probably number 11 that I'll just add to it is it made me focus on eating healthy, because I was like, if I eat unhealthy, I gotta fight somebody, or I gotta train and spar against somebody really hard with this fueling my body. So let me skip the Twinkie and focus on more nutritious, healthy food. And that is the answer to this week's question of the week. Any insights below? Feel free to make your comments, whether you agree or disagree. And got a question for next week? Fire below, or when you see me in class, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. All right, ciao.